Hello everyone! Thank you for tuning into Vidiot Entertainment Studios for this episode of Vidiot Movie Reviews. I'm the Nerdlust Daddy, and today we continue our series reviewing every North American live-action video game film adaptation theatrical release. And today we head off for exploration and adventure once again as we review the film series reboot 2018's Tomb Raider.
Oh, I like the originals. I hope this one is exciting.
Me too, Pidds. Let's see how this one holds up with a new lead. Now, Tomb Raider was released in North American theaters on March 16, 2018. At this time, 18 games in the series in combinations of mainline, spin-offs, and reboots had been released. Considering this film is only based on 2 of them, those are the ones that we'll be using for our comparison. Those are the 2013 reboot Tomb Raider and its sequel Rise of the Tomb Raider. Our main focus for comparison will be on Tomb Raider, as the film is an adaptation of it sprinkled with elements from Rise of the Tomb Raider. Now, the plot of the game series reboot revolves around a young Lara Croft heading off on her first expedition aboard the ship Endurance. She intends to find the lost kingdom of Yamatai, located on an island within the ocean area known as the Dragon's Triangle. Upon reaching the Dragon's Triangle, the ship is hit by a violent storm, causing a wreck and washing the survivors upon the shore of Yamatai. As Lara begins locating the rest of the survivors, she happens across Samantha Nishimura, a family friend who had joined to film the expedition. She's speaking with a man named Matthias that claims to have been one of the passengers and is telling him about the legend of Himiko, the immortal queen who ruled Yamatai for thousands of years. Lara passes out during this conversation and awakens to find Samantha and Matthias gone. Upon awakening, she sets off to continue looking for the rest of the survivors, and upon finding them, sets off with Dr. James Whitman, a celebrity archaeologist who had fallen into bankruptcy and joined the expedition in the hopes that it could bring back his fame and fortune. They head off to find Roth, who is a family friend and mentor to Lara. The rest of the survivors set off to try and find Samantha. While searching for Roth, Lara and Whitman happen across native islanders that they discover are worshippers of Himiko. They're captured by them, but Lara eventually escapes. While on the run, she is contacted by 2 other survivors, Alex and Reyes, who reveal to her that Samantha was kidnapped by the island inhabitants who are known as the Solari Brotherhood. Lara attempts to rescue Sam, but is stopped by Matthias, who is revealed to be the leader of the Solari. Lara and her friends then set off to try and rescue Samantha and discover the secret as to what Matthias and the Solari want with her and unravel the mystery of the legend of Himiko. Now, the film, it takes a lot of cues from the game reboot, but with some liberties and alterations. In it, a young Lara Croft is making a living getting by as a bike courier. We learn that 7 years ago, her father had gone off on an expedition, never to return, and was declared legally dead after years of authorities searching for and never finding him. During this time, she had refused to accept control of her father's estate and had just been getting by living a normal life. After an event lands her in jail, her father's partner, Anna Miller, posts her bail and urges her to accept her inheritance and take control of the Croft estate, or else it was going to be sold off soon. Lara reluctantly agrees, and while signing the papers, she's playing with a puzzle much like the ones her father used to have lying around the estate. She ends up solving it, and it pops open, revealing a piece of paper. Written upon it, in her father's handwriting, is a clue that leads her to his tomb. Upon investigation, she finds out that behind his tomb is a secret room that her father had hidden away to study the legend of Queen Himiko, ruler of Yamatai. This legend is what her father had been investigating when he disappeared on his expedition. Against his wishes, Lara preserves all documentation and sets out to find the island of Yamatai in the hopes of finding her father. Traveling to Hong Kong, she hires a man named Lu Ren, captain of the ship Endurance, to take her to the Devil's Sea to search for the island of Yamatai. Once in the area, the ship gets hit by a violent storm, causing a wreck and washing them upon the shore, but being separated during this. And while Lara's struggling to the shore, she gets knocked unconscious by someone and then awakens, having been captured by a man named Matthias Vogel, who had been the leader of the expedition that her father went on. We learn that the expedition had been founded by a group known as the Trinity, and that they were searching to locate Himiko to try and harness her power of a legend. Lara escapes from Matthias and sets off to try and stop him and uncover the secrets of Himiko. Alright, now I didn't touch on every little plot detail and similarity, or else we would have been here until the end of next year. But we do have a lot of similarities, even with some of the liberties taken. The same setting and legend are used, though the specifics behind the legend are different. The motivations for Lara going on the expedition differ as well. But something I want to point out is that there are a lot of set pieces, action sequences, and things that happen in the film that happen exactly or almost exactly as they did in the game. It was actually quite impressive to see how many set piece and action sequences they attempted to recreate in the film. Overall, despite the differences, I think this plot can stand on its own, but the impressive attention to trying to recreate specific happenings from the game won me over. I can give the plot a hawoo. Pidds, what did you think of the plot?
Hawoo!
So what about setting and world representation? Well, if we are specifically focusing on comparisons to the direct source material, the representations are pretty good overall. Characters seem as if they belong in the universe. The setting is a lush, tropical jungle island, though there are some differences in the weather representation directly upon the island between the game and the film. Once into the tomb raiding portion of the film, the set pieces look fantastic and like they could easily come out of a history book, let alone the games. In general, they did a very good job of creating settings and representations of the world of Tomb Raider, along with the type of characters found within. And again, a lot of the set-piece action sequences are pulled directly from the source material. I can give setting and world representation a hawoo. Pidds, what did you think of them?
Hawoo!
Let's jump into characters and once again stick to those directly from the games or that are starring characters who are front and center for the majority of the film. Let's start with Lu Ren, portrayed by Daniel Wu, mostly known for his roles in Chinese cinema, but you probably recognize him from his role in the television series Into the Badlands, as well as his voice acting role as Gul'dan in our previously reviewed film Warcraft. Here he plays the captain of the ship Endurance that agrees to take Lara to look for the island of Yamatai. While he is an original character created for the film, the performance is good and the character fits well into the setting. Nothing stood out to me regarding the performance though, as he's more of a supporting character and one that doesn't get many moments to allow the actor or character itself to shine. Still, it was a serviceable performance, and I can give him a passing hawoo. Pidds, what did you think of Lu Ren?
Hawoo!
Lord Richard Croft, played by Dominic West, who may be most recognizable for his role as Detective Jimmy McNulty on the television show The Wire. He plays the role of Lara's father, who was lost on an expedition to Yamatai and then presumed killed by Matthias Vogel. The portrayal here is good as he comes off as a loving father, yet devoted, if not obsessive archaeologist, who sets off on finding out the mysteries of Yamatai and Queen Himiko. The portrayal felt authentic, and the dynamic between him and Lara seemed fluid and believable. I can give him a hawoo. Pidds, what did you think of Lord Croft?
Hawoo!
Matthias Vogel, portrayed by Walton Goggins, known for his roles in such films as Django Unchained, The Hateful Eight, and Ant-Man and the Wasp. This role places him in the shoes of the main antagonist, a man who had led the original expedition that Lara's father was on and a member of the secret society, the Trinity. The representation here is quite good. He comes off as power-hungry, remorseless, and driven to reach the remains of Himiko at any cost. A convincing and at times delicious maniacal portrayal. He gets a hawoo from me. Pidds, what did you think of Matthias?
Hawoo!
Lara Croft, played by Alicia Vikander, mostly known for her roles in British film and television series, is probably most recognizable for her role as Ava, the humanoid robot, in the multi-nominated and award-winning film Ex Machina. She takes on the role of the iconic Lara Croft, admittedly a lofty role to fill after the character's portrayal in the original two films by Angelina Jolie. The role here is played as a younger version heading off on her first expedition while facing her fears of uncertainty over her abilities and trauma from losing her father. The representation here is very good, and we also see a wide display of her athletic as well as archaeological capabilities. I'd say the role's pulled off admirably here. She gets a hawoo from me. Pidds, what did you think of Lara?
Hawoo!
Time to get into our final verdicts. Now, the plot fits well within the universe, and while taking some liberties, surprisingly involves very close representations of events in the game while still being able to stand on its own. The setting and world representation are admirable and well done, fitting within the expected exotic locations explored within the universe. And the portrayals of pretty much all of the main characters are definitely above average and acceptable. Let's turn to the Pidds and see what he thinks about this one. Pidds, what did you think about Tomb Raider?
Hawoo!
Agreed, Pidds. This one was pretty good. I was impressed with how the plot, while taking liberties, could still stand on its own, and very surprisingly incorporated some of the exact set pieces and action sequences from the game. The cinematography helped bring to life the world in an accurate way, and the representations of the characters fit well within the universe, with the new actress portraying Lara being quite impressive in her representation of the character. I can give this one a 7s out of 10s. It's definitely above average and a good film right on the cusp of dipping into an 8s. Some pacing issues threw me off, as well as some of the slightly unbelievable CGI used instead of practical effects that bring it down a bit. But I can recommend this film to fans of the series, especially those of the reboot, and to anyone who is a fan of action-adventure films. Neither will be disappointed, and will have a fun time with this one. The Pidds and I want to thank you all for once again tuning in to Vidiot Entertainment Studios for this episode of Vidiot Movie Reviews. If you enjoyed our video, please be sure to comment, like, subscribe, and share to show your support. And don't forget to also check us out on Twitch, as well as follow us on Twitter. Until next time, I'm the Nerdlust Daddy, reminding you all to not be chit futters to each other. Body autonomy for all, reproductive rights for women, and peace, love, and happiness to all. Take us out, Pidds.
Thank yous all again for watching. See yous next time.
They still